Have you ever noticed that some people just don't enjoy being part of group activities? It's not that they hate people or that they're antisocial. They just feel drained, uneasy, or even out of place when surrounded by too many others. Maybe that sounds familiar to you. From school projects to office team building games, there's always that one quiet person who secretly hopes to be left alone. But behind that quiet resistance is something deeper than just personal preference. It's actually a reflection of inner psychology. In this video, we're diving deep into why some people naturally avoid group activities, what that says about their personality, and how Carl Jung's powerful insights on individuality and introversion can help us understand this part of human nature better. So if you've ever felt misunderstood for preferring your own space, stay with me till the very end, because what you'll discover today might just change the way you see yourself. And hey, if psychology and human behavior fascinate you, don't forget to subscribe and join our growing community of deep thinkers. When someone dislikes group activities, it's often not about disinterest. It's about emotional safety. Groups can be unpredictable. There's pressure to perform, to fit in, to play a certain role. For someone who values authenticity and independence, that kind of environment can feel suffocating. They're not afraid of people. They're afraid of losing themselves in the noise. Psychologically, this is often linked to introversion and self-preservation instincts. Introverts recharge in solitude, while extroverts gain energy through interaction. But that's not the whole story. Some individuals are naturally more sensitive to social energy. They absorb the moods, stress, and emotions of others like sponge. Carl Jung described this sensitivity as being too attuned to the collective unconscious. In other words, they unconsciously pick up on the emotional atmosphere around them, and it starts to shape their inner state. So when such people quietly step back, they're not avoiding connection. They're protecting it. They're saying, I just need a little space to stay myself. If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. And in a few minutes, we'll explore how this sensitivity might actually be a sign of deeper emotional intelligence. So make sure you keep watching till the end. And if you're enjoying these insights, hit that subscribe button. It really helps this channel grow. Have you ever been in a group where everyone seems to agree on everything, but deep down you don't? You stay quiet, maybe nod along, but something inside you feels slightly off, like you're pretending to fit in. That's not arrogance or stubbornness. It's something deeper, something Carl Jung described as part of the individuation process. This is the inner journey of becoming who you truly are. And sometimes that path pulls you away from the crowd. Group settings often come with invisible expectations. Blend in. Don't make things awkward. Go along. But for people who value independent thought, that pressure can feel like a slow erosion of self. They're not rejecting others. They're rejecting uniformity. These individuals often have a strong, rooted sense of identity. They don't want their emotions, ideas, or values shaped by group opinion. It's not rebellion. It's self-protection. They care more about authenticity than approval. While some people join group activities to feel belonging, others seek something more meaningful, real, soul-level connection. They'd rather share a deep conversation with one genuine person than perform in a crowd. Their discomfort in groups isn't antisocial. It's a quiet act of self-preservation, a way of saying, I don't want to lose myself just to belong. And if this resonates with you, keep watching. Because next, we'll uncover how energy plays a huge role in why group settings can feel so exhausting. And before we go on, don't forget to subscribe. Your support really helps us keep creating thoughtful videos like this one that Let's Talk About Energy. Because when it comes to group activities, energy is everything. For introverts and highly sensitive people, social interaction is like spending from a limited emotional wallet. Every smile, every small talk, every group laugh costs a little bit of energy. And once that wallet's empty, they need time alone to refill it. Science backs this up. Studies show that introverts' brains process stimulation differently. While extroverts light up in social settings, introverts experience higher neural activity in the parts of the brain tied to deep thought and emotional regulation. That's why too much noise, chatter, or chaos can quickly lead to mental overload. Carl Jung described it beautifully. Introverts live more in the inner world of reflection than in the outer world of action. So when they spend too much time in groups, It can feel like their inner balance is being disrupted, too much external input, not enough inner peace. When they step back, it's not avoidance, it's maintenance. Solitude becomes a way to recharge, to breathe, and to reconnect to their center. So if you've ever left a group gathering feeling completely drained, you're not broken. You're just built differently. And that difference is your strength. Stay with me to the end, because in the next part, we'll explore how embracing this truth can actually make your relationships and self-understanding so much deeper. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it helps more thoughtful people like you find this channel. Think of those group activities where everyone is expected to be agreeable and play along. If you're someone who values being genuine, this forced cheerfulness can feel like a betrayal of the self. That nagging thought, "Why am I pretending to enjoy this?" is a sign of internal dissonance, the clash between the real you and the person you're performing for the crowd. The legendary psychologist Carl Jung had a name for this performance: the persona. It's the essential face we show the world, necessary for getting by socially. But when the persona takes over, it chokes out your true self. People who avoid large groups often sense this conflict far more strongly. They don't want polite chatter or shared slogans. They crave real, meaningful conversations and genuine understanding. In a group, the persona thrives, but your true self often feels unseen. So if you withdraw, it's not coldness. It's a fierce search for authenticity. You'd genuinely rather be alone than play a role that doesn't feel true to your core. This doesn't mean you can't connect. It means you connect deeply, not widely. Your discomfort in groups often signals a high emotional intelligence that prioritizes quality over quantity in human relationships. For some, group avoidance runs even deeper, stemming from emotional defense mechanisms. If you've been burned by rejection, ridicule, or betrayal in the past, groups can feel like a symbol of danger. Attention feels like exposure, and exposure feels profoundly unsafe. You might unconsciously associate being seen with being judged, so the safest option becomes invisibility. Psychologically, you might be repressing your natural desire to belong just to avoid the pain of potential rejection. Or you could be projecting, secretly judging yourself and assuming everyone else is doing the exact same thing. These are clever ways your mind tries to protect your ego from feeling inadequate. But as Jung suggested, the path to healing starts with integration, acknowledging both your fear of judgment and your innate longing for connection. The goal isn't to force yourself to be a social butterfly, but to understand what groups trigger within you. For many, solitude isn't isolation. It's emotional recovery. They're not running from others. They're learning to feel safe within themselves first. Once that inner safety is established, genuine connection, whether one-on-one or in a small, trusted circle, can blossom naturally. Remember Jung's wisdom. Wholeness doesn't mean fitting in. It means integrating all your parts, the social self and the solitary one, to don't miss out. To keep exploring deep psychological concepts and understand yourself better, be sure to watch to the end of our content and hit that subscribe button. Have you noticed how your absolute best ideas never come during a frantic brainstorming session, but rather in the silence of a long walk or a quiet afternoon? That's the deep connection between creativity and solitude. Many people who steer clear of group activities are deep thinkers, artists, or highly attentive observers. They don't generate ideas through chatter. They generate them through silence. In solitude, you can follow a thought without interruption, allowing you to hear your inner voice clearly and engage in profound reflection. Carl Jung strongly believed in this, stating that the creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. That inner necessity is a quiet drive that gets drowned out by group noise. This preference isn't antisocial. It's creative independence. They prefer inner collaboration, working with intuition, thoughts, and imagination over external group consensus. Their solitude isn't emptiness. It's incubation. It's the essential condition where insight, clarity, and true originality grow. So if you dislike groups, it's often a powerful sign of creative depth and alignment, not social deficiency. Here's the tough part. Society often mislabels those who seek quiet. If you don't jump into every networking event, you might be incorrectly seen as aloof, shy, or difficult. But the truth is, you just operate differently. You aren't uninterested in people. You are selective about energy exchange. in a culture that glorifies constant teamwork and extroversion. Choosing silence can be grossly misunderstood as weakness. However, psychological research shows that people who prioritize time alone often exhibit greater self-awareness and stronger emotional regulation. They aren't running away from the crowd. They're intentionally choosing peace over performance. They value depth over popularity and reflection over reaction. Yet, this misunderstanding creates pressure and guilt. You might feel obligated to fix your quiet nature or force yourself to be more social. But remember Jung's wisdom. The ultimate goal isn't to be like everyone else. It's to become more like yourself. True psychological maturity comes from self-acceptance. Not everyone is meant to thrive in noisy groups. And that is perfectly okay to keep unlocking your own psychological depth and learn why being alone is actually a superpower. Be sure to watch till the end and hit that subscribe button. The tightrope walk is real. Avoiding groups entirely leads to isolation, but forcing participation leads to exhaustion. The key is balance, learning how to connect both authentically and selectively. People who get drained by crowds typically thrive in small, meaningful circles, where emotional depth instantly replaces superficial noise. Think about it. One deep friendship can offer exponentially more nourishment than 10 surface-level group chats. Jung's philosophy suggests this is a harmony between your inner world and the outer one, engaging without losing yourself. It's about cultivating the wisdom to know precisely when to step forward and when to step back. You don't have to love every social activity to be healthy or normal. It's enough to simply understand your limits, your triggers, and your natural rhythms. If group settings consistently drain your energy, that isn't a failure. It's feedback. Your mind is clearly telling you where your peace lies. Listen to that feedback. Respect it. However, stay open to possibility. Sometimes a small, genuine shared experience can still bring unexpected growth. The ultimate goal is not to change who you are. It's to honor who you are while ensuring you stay connected in ways that feel safe and deeply meaningful. If you are someone who finds yourself continually retreating from the noise of group activities, feel no shame. Know this essential truth. You are not broken. You are profoundly aware. Your instinct to step away, your hesitation at the door of the crowded room, and your quiet resistance to manufactured enthusiasm are not failures of social fitness. They are, in fact, powerful psychological mechanisms, signals from your psyche protecting your most valuable asset, your authenticity. In a world that glorifies extroversion, networking, and constant social visibility, the choice for solitude is often misinterpreted as weakness, aloofness, or shyness. But for the deep thinker, the sensitive observer, and the genuinely creative soul, the avoidance of the group is an act of self-preservation. It is a conscious or sometimes unconscious decision to prioritize meaning over performance and truth over fleeting attention. Your inner compass is simply pointing toward a different set of values than the collective. We have been conditioned by modern society to believe that discomfort in groups is a flaw that needs to be fixed. If you don't enjoy large social gatherings, you are often handed a diagnosis. You must be shy, antisocial, or lacking in confidence. This narrative creates immense guilt, forcing countless individuals to mask their true selves and expend vital energy trying to pass as social dynamos. But the quiet resistance you feel is actually a highly sophisticated form of emotional regulation. Your mind is discerning, recognizing that certain environments cost more energy than they return. Groups, especially large or unstructured ones, demand the wearing of the social mask, what Carl Jung termed the persona. This is the agreeable, smiling, palatable face we show the world, necessary for surface-level interaction. However, when this persona is worn too frequently or too tightly, it creates a crushing internal dissonance. The real self begins to feel like a betrayal, whispering, "Why are you pretending to enjoy this?" The broken label is a myth perpetuated by a culture obsessed with quantity. You aren't broken. You are simply prioritizing quality. You'd rather spend an hour in a truly genuine conversation with one person than 3 hours exchanging polite noise with 10. Your sensitivity to energy exchange is not a defect. It is a profound awareness of where your peace lies. The pursuit of authenticity is the central drama of a meaningful life. When you recoil from the demands of a group, you are recoiling from the demand to perform. Modern social settings are often stages where we showcase our success, our agreeable nature, or our tribal loyalty through shared slogans and surface bonding. This environment is toxic to the authentic self. Authenticity, in contrast, requires vulnerability, clarity, and a quiet confidence in one's unedited thoughts. These qualities are nearly impossible to maintain in a space designed for quick judgment and consensus building. When you choose solitude, you are choosing an environment free of external interference, allowing for the inner collaboration of your intuition, thoughts, and imagination. Your discomfort around forced socializing signals an emotional intelligence that values depth and genuine understanding over shared slogans or popular approval. This preference for inner life often correlates with creativity and deep thinking. The best ideas, the deepest insights, and the moments of profound personal clarity almost never emerge from a crowded room. They emerge from silence. The solitary path is where insight incubates, where you can follow a thought to its true end without the pressure to summarize it, defend it, or conform it to someone else's perspective. Your withdrawal isn't a rejection of connection. It's an absolute necessity for creative independence. Carl Jung and the Solitude Mandate. To truly understand the power of your quiet nature, we must turn to Carl Jung's foundational work on the development of the self. Jung taught that the journey to psychological and spiritual wholeness, a process he called individuation, must begin in solitude. Individuation is a lifelong process of becoming an individual, a unique, undivided, and whole person, integrating all the disparate parts of psyche, including the conscious, the unconscious, and the shadow. This profound integration cannot happen in the presence of the group, because the group is constantly demanding you reinforce the persona. Jung recognized that the social world requires us to fragment ourselves, showing only the acceptable pieces. It is only when we are alone that the voice of the true self can be heard, untainted by the clamor of external expectations. Solitude serves as a psychological laboratory where we can confront our fears, our insecurities, and our oppressed desires, the shadow, without the immediate defense mechanisms triggered by being seen and judged by others. Therefore, for the sensitive soul, standing apart is not a consequence of failure. It is a necessary condition for self-discovery. Those who retreat from the pack are often the ones closest to their own core essence. They are not chasing the ephemeral approval of the crowd. They are grounding themselves in the immutable truth of who they are. The final reflection: is it drainage or discomfort? As you conclude this journey of reflection, you must gain the wisdom of discernment. The ultimate question is not simply whether you avoid groups, but why. Your task is to accurately read the signal your quiet resistance is sending you. Ask yourself this critical, clarifying question: do I avoid groups because they genuinely drain my energy, or because I am still learning to be at peace within them? If the answer is drainage, you are wise. You are honoring your boundaries, and your work is to set them firmly and without apology. If the answer is that you are learning to be at peace, then you have uncovered a challenge. Perhaps there is an unresolved fear of judgment, a need for self-acceptance, or a lingering belief that you must perform to be valued. In this case, solitude is still your safe harbor, but it's also the place where you can gently practice integrating your inner and outer worlds. True psychological maturity comes not from changing your nature, but from honoring it. Not everyone is meant to thrive in the collective. Some of us are meant to be the insightful observers, the solitary creators, and the carriers of deep, uncompromised truth. Your quiet strength is your superpower. And if you found meaning in this profound reflection on authenticity, self-acceptance, and Jung's insights, then you know this is just the beginning. To keep exploring the depths of human behavior, the mysteries of the inner world, and the psychology that helps you understand yourself better, be sure to watch till the end and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because understanding others always begins with the courage to understand ourselves.